Donald Trump has claimed that LA is being invaded and occupied, and he's called the protesters violent insurrectionists. How would you describe what is happening, and what do you make of the president's use of this sort of language?
I think there is a public uprising against a very hardline government. We are approaching in mid-June the 10th anniversary of Donald Trump trundling down that escalator at Trump Tower in New York, declaring his run for president. And that speech that day was all about immigration, building a wall on the southern border, and demonizing Mexicans as criminals and rapists and drug dealers. And what we've seen over the past decade is that remain the central issue of Trump and Trumpism. It's certainly played a big part in last year's election campaign. And now, so far, we've seen that very draconian stance in the second Trump term. And I think perhaps surprisingly, we haven't seen as many protests and demonstrations directly as we expected, or certainly not grabbing the headlines so much. But it was only a matter of time. And of course, Los Angeles, California is a Democratic stronghold, a progressive liberal bastion. People decided enough was enough and stood up said, not in our name. And in terms of Trump's language, I think that's the classic playbook that he uses. And we've seen it with other authoritarians. He will set out to demonize these protesters as rebels and insurrectionists and violent and a threat to the state. And, the phrase he was using last year and will continue to use is, this is the enemy within.